Hi guys, today I'm going to do a video on a LAMP stack setup. Now I'm going to do it on CentOS 7 or CentOS 7, and this is a Red Hat binary compatible distribution of Linux. So it will also, these commands will also work on Red Hat 7 as well. Now LAMP setups are so many ways to do it nowadays. There's very many different ways of setting up a web server. I'm going to do it, this is like the 5-minute LAMP setup. So if you need a quick web server, no special configurations or libraries compiled in, and just really straightforward, you have a Linux distribution, you want to run Apache, MySQL, or MariaDB, and you want to run some PHP. So this is really going to how to do it with Yum. I will say that if you are going to be a system administrator as a profession, and this isn't just a little side hobby, then you should definitely learn how to compile source code. It's so valuable to know how to compile source code. And if you've been doing system administration in Linux or Unix for a very long time, Unix, right here, HPUX, then you're going to want to know how to compile source code, because not everything is going to be ported to where you want. So definitely take 5 minutes, and maybe, well, it's probably going to take longer than 5 minutes, but definitely take the time to learn how to compile source code. And maybe I'll make another video on how to compile some source code to set up a web server. But today I'm going to do it with Yum and how easy it is to set up with Yum. And really, this is going to be for a web server that needs really no special libraries for graphics or anything. So it's really pretty standard stuff. No Tomcat, no any sort of maybe like content management editing in there. So this will support, I will say this will support WordPress. So if you want to host WordPress on this install, this actually will support that. So just keep watching and I'll show you how easy it is, 5 minutes, maybe a little more, to do it with Yum. So here we are with our freshly installed CentOS 7. And this is server. So I'm going to go ahead and log in with my regular user account. And I'm going to do everything with sudo. So this is really the recommended way of installing products. You generally don't want to log in with root. And that's kind of true for any operating system. You probably want to log in as a regular user and not log in as the administrator account. So then we're going to do sudo yum. And Yum is an automated installer. So we're going to install HTTPD, which is the Apache web server. So it's going to go out to a repository online and download the precompiled binaries to run Apache web services on CentOS 7 server. So it's already been compiled, and so we're just downloading the precompiled binaries, 64-bit. So that's the architecture there. It's x86-64 architecture. And then you can go ahead and see the products that it's going to install. So it's the product we want, HTTPD, and any dependencies. So we're going to go ahead and hit yes here. We're accepting dependencies. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and hit select here, yes again. So it's just retrieving a key file. So it's going to go ahead and do the installation. It's going to be relatively fast. Products to install. And once we're done, we're going to go ahead and try starting up our Apache web server. So it's good to know your IP address. So we're going to go ahead and if you do an IP space A, it'll give you your IP address. I'm going to start the Apache web server. So that's system control, sudo system control enable httpd.service. So that is going to go ahead and enable the service on restart. So if we do another yum install, we're going to install a database. So we're doing the full LAMP setup. So MariaDB and MySQL are absolutely compatible. So MariaDB is based on MySQL. If you export one database, you can totally import into this database without any issue. So when they do a LAMP now, you're going to see it's MariaDB. And I think that's because of the commercial pricing for MySQL as well. So we're going to go ahead and run that and do a yum for that, and it's going to install again all the dependencies as well as the the MariaDB server. So let's go ahead and do sudo system control start MariaDB. So it's going to start the service right now. If you do system control enable, it's going to make sure it starts on system restart. So if we do a MySQL secure installation, and you'll notice a lot of the MariaDB commands are the old MySQL commands. So if you're done MySQL installation before, you can remember this command. And it's pretty much you're going to set the root password. It's going to just guide you through this configuration. You can set a root password. You're going to remove any anonymous users. You want to disable root login remotely. Yes or no? I would say usually do yes, but I didn't know just for a test here. And a few other things. So update privileges, reload privileges, so just update the permissions for the database. So now you got your Apache web server running as well as your MariaDB database. So now the last thing you want to install is PHP. So we want to install the PHP interpreter that's going to work with the Apache web server, and you're also going to install PHP MySQL, so that's going to install an additional library that will have the PHP libraries needed to be able to code PHP code that will interact or connect to a MySQL or MariaDB database. So we installed those two products, and again, it's going to install any required dependencies in addition. So you see the PHP command line there, PHP common, and libzib, which is a compression library. So now we got our PHP, and we can go ahead and test this with a PHP info files, which I'll show you in a little bit. So after you do this, to make sure your Apache web server will now load the PHP module that was just installed when you did a yum install PHP, you're going to restart the Apache web server. So now on restart, it should load the PHP module because the configuration has been changed in your Apache web server that will load that PHP module. So on restart, it will now start with that supported. So, and you get to verify that by actually creating a PHP file and putting it in your web directory or your HT docs folder, and to verify that PHP is now supported. So for a freshly installed Apache web server, your HT docs or your website is stored under var www.html. So we're going to go ahead and create a file called info.php. I'm going to put some simple PHP code, just info, PHP info. It's going to call PHP function. So this is just a single statement in PHP calling a built-in PHP function. So now there's our file. And if you open up a browser, and you should be able to see that the information for the PHP installation, I'm going to go ahead and do a change mod, and that will make it executable. So it's going to allow it to run and execute. So we have to know our IP address. And now let's go ahead and take a look at our firewall settings. So we're going to want to open up port 80 and 443 on our firewall. So we can do that with sudo for super user access, firewall -command. We're going to modify our zone, public zone, and we're going to add a service, HTTP. So that's going to go ahead and open up port 80 on our web server. Now, if we want to verify our changes, we go ahead and do the same firewall command. Notice that # there, I am now logged in as root, so I don't need to do sudo. So again, we're going to do public zone. We're going to list services. Now, if you ever wonder what port the service is, there's a file in etc services. The file corresponds to service to the port. So whatever HTTP is defined in etc services as the port is what it actually is. By default, it's port 80, but technically you can change it. Not that I would recommend that. So let's go ahead and take a look at the website. So we go to our IP address. You can also go to the host name if there's a DNS entry and type it into your browser URL. So it's going to come up with this testing 123. And now how about that PHP file I put in to make sure PHP is working correctly. So we put that in our HT docs folder, info.php. And if this comes up and lists all this information, that means PHP is working correctly because it's a PHP built-in function generating this page. So you can go ahead and take a look at the different modules that the PHP supports. The precompiled binary for PHP does have these loaded modules
There are specialty modules in PHP that you might want. In those cases, you might have to compile the PHP source code to get it. So you can go through here and check out what is supported with your browser, with your web server, and your PHP installation.
Thanks for watching, guys. I hope it was easy to set up your web server. These commands are pretty straightforward. Hopefully you understood my explanations. Otherwise, I will see you guys next time, and thanks for watching. Bye, guys. Subscribe to get updates.